ask you about that a little bit later, but I want to talk more about Reading, because as you said before, Reading holds a special place in your heart. Um, how, and I ask this to a lot of people from where they're from, how would you describe growing up in Reading? In the time that you were, from 11 till where you are now, how was that, going to Reading High School, all that?
Reading is such a beautiful place, man. It really has it all. We have, again, moving from the projects in Brooklyn to coming to Reading. This was really the first time that I had saw trees in abundance and deers, and I've really come to appreciate our environment. But what makes Reading special is our people, the people who live in the city, man. And we're so persistent. Our perseverance is just so, like we never give up. And I remember vividly growing up, and seeing the New York Times article. I believe it was maybe 2010, when the New York Times put out an article saying that we were the most impoverished city in the entire country, and they did a whole expose on the city of Reading. And a group of friends of mine, we were in high school at the time, and we would talk about these things. We would talk about, where is the city, and if we stayed in the city, where do we want it to go? So people like myself, people like Juan Zabala, people like Tim Rivera, who is my current chief of staff, people like Nate Rivera, we were in high school noticing these things, and we came upon ourselves to be the change that we wanted to see within our community. And so each of us took a different route, right? Like I took the policy and the politician route. My friend Juan became a realtor and now opens opportunities for people to buy their first homes, and have their piece of the American dream. My friend Nate Rivera is in public service and currently works for the mayor of Reading as a constituent service advisor. And again, my friend Tim is my current chief of staff. So each of us saw these things and wanted to do what we could to make the city a better place. But Reading is a city like no other. I mean, I have the honor of saying that Reading, we have more Latinos, densely populated Latinos here in the city of Reading than we do anywhere else in the Commonwealth. And I believe that people come to Reading and want to stay in Reading because of our natural resources, but ultimately because of our people and how awesome they are and what they bring to the table every day. And it's just an honor to be able to be that young kid going to high school and being on the streets and seeing my brothers and sisters and I, going through the system and whatnot. And now being in this role is just, it's incredibly honored. I'm incredibly honored and humbled.
Oh, man, that's awesome. And the other thing is you mentioned how like all of your friends, they all sounded like they had Latino names, and they're all making differences in the community as Latinos, and I think that's an incredible story in itself. But speaking of,
we definitely did that, and of course with Eddie Moran, who is the first Latino mayor of a major city. The story, a lot of people don't know this, but 2 years ago, the four of us, myself, Juan Zabala, Nate Rivera, Tim Rivera, and Eddie, we met in Eddie's basement. And we mapped out what the next 3 to 4 years was going to look like. Wow. And we strategized, and we said, Eddie, we're going to make this happen to help you become the next mayor of Reading. And then after that, we were going to help Manny, right? And so I say that to say that, I want Reading to be a model for other cities, right? Like if we can do it in the city of Reading, we can do it in Philly. We can do it in Lancaster. We can do it in Allentown, where Latinos start to take ownership of their community and start exerting the political influence that we've been letting kind of fall by the wayside for a very long time. And that's something that we did 3 years ago.
That's awesome. I can I include that in my article? That might be the lead right there. That's awesome. But speaking of sort of Reading's Latino community, and since you grew up there, or you've been there since you were 11, how was the Latino population when you got there, and then how have you seen it grow and prosper, other than the fact that now they're starting to show that they're political powerhouses?
Yeah, it has grown in different ways, but I would say the primary way is that, I want to just mention that I'm standing on the shoulder of giants, right? I'm standing on folks that have laid the groundwork for us to even, for Latinos even to get to this point where it's me and Eddie, right? But, Angel Figueroa, who is the first Latino city councilor in the city of Reading, he took Eddie and I under his wing. And, his family, the Torres family, big Latino family here in the city of Reading. We've always, as far as I've known, especially over the last 20, 25 years, Latinos have always, held the majority here within the city of Reading. But we never could get over that hump. We whether it was, Juan Zabala's father, for example, a personal friend of mine who I talked about, his father was one of the first Latinos in the city of Reading to run for mayor in the city of Reading. Unfortunately, he couldn't speak English too well, so he had a really heavy accent. But he was key in opening the door to where we are now with a lot of the ways, because he, in a lot of the ways, he opened the door for us, him and others. And so we're taking not only our political power, but also our economic power as well. The city of Reading is, our small businesses, the majority of which are owned by Latinos. We are the economic engine of Berks County. And I always say that wherever the city of Reading goes, Berks County has to follow. And that's primarily driven by Latinos. And so that's really what the biggest change that I've seen is that we've taken the bull by the horns, so to speak, as a cliche is I can use. Mm-hmm. We've taken the political bull by the horns and the economic bull by the horns, and we finally declared ourselves to be at the table. And I always say that it's a union saying, but if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And for years we've been on the menu, no one advocating for us, and now we're actually at the table, making sure that our issues are being properly advocated for and pushed forward.